It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn. And
Justin Bieber has broken his silence, and Diddy is not taking it well. On day 4 of the explosive trial, Bieber publicly backed Cassie, stating, "There are individuals who were genuinely harmed by him."
I think that I was just, living in this shame, living in all this sort of stuff of my past, and I wasn't able to move on.
Justin opens up about the confusion and shame he faced as a young star, echoing the same pain Cassie and others have spoken about, and adding powerful weight to his support. So how did Diddy react? Well, he exploded in a fiery, uncontrollable rage. So picture this. It's day 4 of Diddy's trial. Cassie Ventura is on the stand being cross-examined. The tension in the courtroom is already thicker than a bowl of day-old oatmeal. And then, bam, news breaks that Justin Bieber has publicly shown support for Cassie. On May 15th, 2025, right in the middle of this intense trial day, Justin Bieber's representatives issued a statement to multiple outlets, including TMZ, E! News, People, and Reuters. The statement read, "Although Justin is not among Sean Combs' victims, there are individuals who were genuinely harmed by him. Shifting focus away from this reality detracts from the justice these victims rightfully deserve." Now, for those wondering why Justin Bieber making a statement about this trial is such a big deal, let me take you on a quick trip down memory lane. Justin and Diddy have a history that dates back to when Justin was just a baby-faced teen sensation with the iconic swoopy hair that had girls everywhere swooning. Their relationship began around 2008 to 2009, when Bieber, then a 14 or 15-year-old rising star, was making waves in the music industry. Diddy, already a well-established mogul in his 30s, took an interest in the young talent. Their connection came through Usher, who had mentored Bieber, and had himself been mentored by Diddy earlier in his career. One of the most talked about pieces of evidence of their relationship is a YouTube video titled Justin Bieber's 48 HRS with Diddy that Bieber uploaded to his channel in November 2009. In this video, Diddy makes some comments that, in light of the current allegations, have been reinterpreted by many as concerning.
Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. I have been given custody of him. He signed to Usher.
Signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So, and we gonna go full crazy.
In the original video, Diddy talks about spending 48 hours with the teenage Bieber, referring to it as a 15-year-old's dream, and refusing to disclose specifics of their plans. He says things like they're going to go full buck wild crazy. It's the kind of thing that seemed maybe a bit odd at the time, but has taken on a much darker potential meaning in light of the current allegations against Diddy. Then there was their 2011 appearance on Jimmy Kimmel Live, where Diddy jokingly said, "Bieber knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television." Again, this comment has been scrutinized and reinterpreted by many following Diddy's arrest.
Come down, you gotta, wear your seatbelt.
I mean, I'm 15, you could ride in the passenger seat. I got my permit. Not yet?
No.
Alright, 16.
Not ready. Let's slow down, Josh.
Okay.
He had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
Oh, apparently not.
Everything ain't for everybody.
So when Justin Bieber, who had been notably silent since Diddy's arrest in September 2024, suddenly issues this statement supporting Cassie and acknowledging the individuals who were genuinely harmed by Diddy, it's a big deal. It's like when your friend who never takes sides in group drama suddenly says, "Actually, yeah, Sarah was totally in the wrong here." You know it's serious. What makes this even more significant is that since Diddy's arrest, speculation has run rampant about Justin potentially being a victim himself. These rumors were fueled by Justin's past struggles with mental health, his sometimes erratic behavior, and even an AI-generated fake song that went viral on TikTok with lyrics about losing himself at a Diddy party. So Justin's statement serves a dual purpose. It expresses support for the actual victims while also addressing the speculation about his own involvement. It's a careful balancing act, and the timing of it, right in the middle of Cassie's cross-examination, made it all the more impactful. Now here's where things allegedly got spicy in the courtroom. According to posts on X, formerly Twitter, Diddy reportedly had what some described as a meltdown when he learned about Bieber's statement. An X post by @LoveExist, within on May 16, 2025, claimed Combs was visibly upset during a court break while lawyers were arguing over scheduling issues. Another post by @Slackasremix on the same day alleged that Combs was raging earlier in court, cursing his lawyers, calling them names, and trying to direct them on what questions to ask during Ventura's cross-examination. The post described this as typical #Diddy behavior and mentioned 400 pieces of new evidence as a complicating factor. Now, I do need to mention that these reports from X haven't been confirmed by mainstream media outlets like CNN, BBC, or The Washington Post, which have been covering the trial extensively. These outlets have focused primarily on Ventura's testimony and procedural updates, suggesting that if such an incident occurred, it was either minor or not widely observed. But the X posts paint a picture of Diddy losing his cool behind the scenes, which wouldn't be surprising given the high-stakes nature of the trial and the potential impact of Bieber's statement. What makes Justin's statement even more interesting is what sources close to him have revealed about his emotional state since Diddy's arrest. According to reports from outlets like the Daily Mail and US Weekly, Bieber has been disturbed by the allegations against Diddy and was shutting down mentally, unwilling to process or discuss the news. This is particularly poignant when you consider that Justin has spoken about the difficulties he faced growing up in the spotlight. In a 2020 interview with Apple Music's Zane Lowe that has resurfaced amid Diddy's case, Justin became emotional when discussing wanting to protect then-newcomer Billie Eilish from experiencing what he did as a young star.
Just protecting those moments because people take for granted encounters and yeah, I just want to protect her, you know? I don't want her to lose it. I don't want her to, you know, go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody. So, yeah, if she ever needs me, I'm just a call away.
Justin doesn't specify exactly what encounters he's referring to in this interview, but his emotional response and choice of words have led many to wonder what experiences he might have had in the industry that he doesn't want others to go through. It's heartbreaking to see him tear up while talking about protecting the next generation of stars. Sources have also claimed that Justin regrets his 2023 collaboration with Diddy on the song Moment from Diddy's album, The Love Album Off the Grid, and would not have done so had he known about the allegations against him. This suggests that the revelations about Diddy's alleged behavior came as a shock to Bieber, despite their history. But let's get back to the statement and its impact. Multiple sources at the center of Bieber's life told TMZ that nothing untoward happened between Bieber and Diddy, and that Diddy never abused Bieber or otherwise. These sources emphasized that Bieber was closer to Diddy's sons, Quincy and Justin Combs, than to Diddy himself, suggesting that their public appearances together were more performative than indicative of a close personal relationship. So what does all this mean for the trial? Well, while Bieber's statement may not directly impact the legal proceedings, he's not on the witness list for either the prosecution or defense, it does potentially influence public perception. By supporting Cassie and acknowledging the existence of genuine victims, Bieber lends credibility to the accusations against Diddy at a crucial moment in the trial. This is especially significant given Bieber's enormous platform and influence. With over 150 million followers on Instagram alone, Bieber's words carry weight. His statement could potentially encourage others who may have information or experiences related to Diddy to come forward, knowing they have the support of someone as high profile as Bieber. The timing of the statement is also interesting. By issuing it during Cassie's cross-examination, when the defense was trying to undermine her credibility and portray her as a willing participant, Bieber's support serves as a counterbalance, reminding the public and potentially the jury, though they're supposed to avoid media coverage, that there are those who believe the victims. For Cassie, who has faced scrutiny and questioning about her motives, having someone like Bieber publicly acknowledge the harm done must be validating. Imagine spending days on the stand having your character picked apart, only to have one of the biggest stars in the world essentially say, "I believe you, and what happened to you matters." For many observers, the most powerful part of Bieber's statement is the line about shifting focus away from this reality detracts from the justice these victims rightfully deserve. It's a direct call to center the experiences of victims in the narrative around Diddy, rather than getting caught up in sensationalism or speculation. And yet, ironically, Bieber's statement itself became part of the media circus surrounding the trial, allegedly triggering Diddy's courtroom outburst and adding another layer to the already complex story. For those who've been living under a rock, or maybe just taking a much-needed social media detox, Diddy is facing some serious charges. We're talking sex trafficking, racketeering conspiracy, and transportation to engage in prostitution. If convicted, this man is looking at potentially spending the rest of his life behind bars. The absolute star of this courtroom saga has been Cassie Ventura, Diddy's ex-girlfriend of over a decade. She's been on the witness stand for 4 whole days, spilling more tea than a waitress at a southern brunch spot. And let me tell you, what she's revealed has had the courtroom shook. Day 4 of the trial, which took place on May 15th, 2025, was particularly intense. Cassie, who is 8 months pregnant, yes, you read that right, this queen is testifying while practically ready to give birth, was being cross-examined by Diddy's defense team, led by attorney Anna Estevao.
Cassie Ventura is on the stand. She's been on for almost 2 hours now. When she walked in, she looked straight ahead. She did not look to the left, which is where Sean Combs is sitting. It's also where his family is sitting behind him.
The energy in that courtroom was thicker than the plot of a telenovela. Cassie was composed, but clearly exhausted, having to relive some of the most traumatic experiences of her life, while Diddy sat there just a few feet away, passing notes to his lawyers like he's back in high school trying to plan the weekend party. The audacity, I swear. What's been the most heartbreaking part of Cassie's testimony is how she described the infamous freak-offs that Diddy allegedly forced her to participate in. For those not familiar with this term, consider yourselves blessed. These were essentially extended intimate gatherings, where Cassie claims she was coerced into engaging in activities with male experts while Diddy watched. Like, we're talking pressure, manipulation, and a whole lot of nope that she allegedly couldn't say because she was afraid of what would happen.
First time she really cried when she discussed she was in love, and it was in the context of their relationship, but it was something that made her feel disgusting and humiliated. One thing that was interesting is that she said the physical abuse started before she was introduced to voyeurism or the freak-offs, and she was afraid to say no because she was afraid of what would happen. She talked about how she felt her life, every aspect of her life was being controlled, and at one point it was the only one-on-one time she could get with Sean Combs, and it made her feel like it was the only thing she was good for.
The defense tried hard to paint a different picture during cross-examination. They brought out hundreds of text messages and emails from Cassie to Diddy, many from the early years of their relationship, trying to show that she was, in their words, a willing participant in these activities. Some of these messages were pretty explicit, with Cassie appearing to initiate or express enthusiasm for these encounters. But here's where it gets really sad. When questioned about these messages, Cassie explained that they were just words at that point, and reflected her attempts to please Diddy, not genuine enthusiasm. Cassie even said something that broke everyone's heart in the courtroom when asked about the $20 million settlement she received from Diddy in 2023 after filing her civil lawsuit. She said she would give back every penny of that settlement if it meant she never had to experience those freak-offs again. Like, imagine being in such a dark place that $20 million doesn't even come close to making up for what you went through. The defense was really trying to play the mutual toxicity card, suggesting that both Cassie and Diddy were heavy drug users during their relationship. They highlighted how they called each other get-high partners and talked about their shared dependency on opiates. The defense even brought up specific incidents, like a 2012 overdose by Combs after a visit to a specialized establishment and a Playboy Mansion party. It was giving me major flashbacks to the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial, where both sides were trying to paint the other as the real problem. But here's the difference. There's literally hotel surveillance footage from 2016 showing Diddy physically assaulting Cassie, which makes it pretty hard to play the both sides card, if you ask me. Now let's talk about Diddy's demeanor during all of this. According to CNN correspondent Elizabeth Wagmeister, who was in the courtroom, Diddy appeared not happy during Cassie's cross-examination. He was constantly passing notes to his defense team and fixating on the questioning. I mean, I'd be stressed too if my entire empire was crumbling and my dark secrets were being aired out for the world to see. But also, maybe don't allegedly do the things in the first place? Just a thought. So we've talked about Cassie's powerful testimony and Justin Bieber's shocking statement of support. But there's another key player in this saga who deserves our attention, Dawn Richard. If you're a pop culture junkie like me, you might remember her from Danity Kane or as part of Diddy Dirty Money. Well, she's not just a bystander in all this, she's a witness with some serious tea to spill. As day 4 wrapped up, Cassie remained on the stand, with her testimony expected to conclude the following morning. The prosecution planned to call singer Dawn Richard and a Homeland Security agent next. Dawn Richard, a former member of Danity Kane and Diddy Dirty Money, was reportedly prepared to testify that she witnessed Diddy physically sexually assault Cassie in 2009. Talk about the receipts coming out. Dawn Richard filed a lawsuit against Diddy in 2024, alleging that he groped her, was physically violent toward women, and even falsely imprisoned her in a car for 2 hours. But what makes her testimony particularly powerful is that she claims to have witnessed Diddy physically assault Cassie Ventura in 2009. According to reports, Dawn testified briefly on May 16, 2025, as the 5th prosecution witness, but her testimony was cut short and scheduled to resume on Monday, May 19th. During her brief time on the stand, she alleged that she frequently saw Combs beat Ventura, including a 2009 incident in a Los Angeles hotel where Combs allegedly attacked Ventura for taking too long to cook dinner. This corroboration is huge because it directly supports Cassie's testimony and establishes a pattern of abuse that spans years. It's like when your friend tells you someone's been talking smack about you, and then another friend independently confirms it. Suddenly, it's a lot harder to dismiss. The prosecution is using Richard's observations to bolster their racketeering charge, arguing that Diddy's alleged abuse was part of a broader pattern of criminal behavior. The defense, unsurprisingly, objected to her testimony, but Judge Subramanian allowed it, recognizing its relevance to the case. Speaking of the defense, they've been working overtime to counter the prosecution's narrative. Their strategy has been threefold: portray Cassie and Diddy's relationship as consensual and mutually toxic, suggest that Diddy's violent behavior was influenced by drug use rather than being part of a criminal enterprise, and question the credibility and motives of the accusers. Led by Mark Agnifilo and Tenny Garagos, Diddy's legal team has argued that the sexual encounters were consensual and involved long-term partners. They've tried to introduce evidence of mutual violence in the relationship, though Judge Subramanian has been reluctant to allow this, probably because it reeks of victim blaming. They've also challenged the admissibility of the 2016 surveillance video, which shows Diddy assaulting Cassie at the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles. They alleged it was leaked by prosecutors to prejudice the case, though the prosecution denied this. Like, sorry your client got caught on camera, but that's not the prosecution's fault. Another interesting defense move was their attempt to dismiss the transportation to engage in prostitution charge, arguing it reflects racial bias in the application of the Mann Act. This seems like a bit of a Hail Mary, especially given the seriousness of the other charges, but I guess when you're facing life in prison, you throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. It's worth noting that Diddy has been detained at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn since his arrest on September 16, 2024. Multiple bail requests have been denied, with judges citing a risk of witness tampering and community safety concerns. Prosecutors alleged Combs contacted victims and witnesses post-arrest and used other social media to sway public opinion, so he's been watching his empire crumble from behind bars, which has to be taking a toll. But let's be real, any stress Diddy is experiencing pales in comparison to what his alleged victims have endured. Cassie spent 4 grueling days on the stand, recounting traumatic experiences while 8 months pregnant. Dawn Richard is coming forward with her own allegations and observations, despite the potential backlash. And countless others have filed lawsuits alleging similar patterns of abuse and exploitation. Speaking of other accusers, the prosecution plans to call at least 2 more, with a possible 4th, though their identities remain undisclosed. Their testimonies will likely focus on similar allegations of coercion, drugging, and sexual assault. The prosecution is building a case that portrays Diddy not just as an individual abuser, but as the head of a criminal enterprise that systematically exploited and abused women for years. To support this narrative, they're expected to call expert witnesses to provide psychological testimony on victim behavior in coercive relationships, addressing why victims may not immediately report abuse or press charges. This is crucial for countering the defense's attempts to use Cassie's continued contact with Diddy after incidents of alleged abuse to undermine her credibility. The prosecution may also introduce additional evidence, including items seized during the March 2024 raids on Diddy's properties in Los Angeles and Miami. These raids reportedly uncovered guns, ammunition, drugs, and over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant, allegedly used in freak-offs. Like, that's an excessive amount of baby oil. We're talking enough to make every newborn in America shine like a disco ball. The implications of this case go far beyond Diddy himself. It's shining a spotlight on the music industry's power dynamics and the ways in which abuse can be enabled and covered up. As Dawn Richard's testimony suggests, many people may have witnessed or known about Diddy's alleged behavior, but felt powerless to speak up or intervene. This brings us back to Justin Bieber's statement. By acknowledging the existence of genuine victims and calling for focus on justice, Bieber is joining a growing chorus of voices challenging the culture of silence that has has allegedly protected powerful figures in the entertainment industry. It's like he's saying, I see you, I hear you, and I'm not going to be part of the system that silences you anymore. And Justin isn't the only celebrity who's spoken out against Diddy. Aubrey O'Day, a former member of Danity Kane, has been vocal about her negative experiences with Combs and has supported Cassie's allegations. In a 2024 interview with People, O'Day expressed that she felt validated by Cassie's lawsuit, stating, I've been trying to tell y'all since 2005 that this was the case. Nobody listened. She described feeling dismissed and attacked when she previously spoke out about Combs' behavior. Even more interesting, 50 Cent, a longtime rival of Combs, has been outspoken about his distrust of Combs for years, intensifying his criticism after the allegations surfaced. In September 2024, 50 Cent posted on Instagram, Here I am keeping good company with at the Drew Barrymore show. I don't have 1,000 bottles of lube at the house, referencing the seizure of baby oil and lubricant from Combs' home during federal raids.
I did it. And I'm the only one who's been vocal about this long before it actually. But I also didn't participate. I also didn't go to those parties.
Yeah.
So a lot of the celebrity culture that you don't hear saying anything is because they participated.
Was there a reason you never went to those parties back in the day?
I'm just not with all that flicky shit. Like all of the stuff that he's doing, I'm not into that type of stuff. I'm just a little more, maybe you could say basic or normal.
Even Kesha, the pop singer, altered the lyrics of her 2010 song TikTok, which originally referenced Combs positively, wake up in the morning feeling like P. Diddy. Amid the allegations, she changed the line during a 2024 Coachella performance to wake up in the morning like P. Diddy, and later confirmed to TMZ that the change was permanent. It's giving, we're rewriting history to exclude the problematic people, and I'm here for it. One of the most shocking allegations comes from singer Jaguar Wright, who claimed in an interview that Usher sent Justin Bieber to Diddy after Usher himself had been victimized. The allegation suggests a cycle of abuse, with victims potentially becoming enablers or even perpetrators themselves.
Diddy had been trying to get to Bieber for a minute, and his management was backing him off. But it wasn't until Usher took over management and had guardianship and gave temporary guardianship to the diddler for 48 hours. Think about that. He had already been to the hospital. That situation that Gene was talking about. And you still took Bieber there, but you got custody of him first. Diddy had already tried.
It's also worth noting that in a 2004 Rolling Stone interview, Usher opened up about how Diddy introduced him to some pretty wild activities, specifically mentioning there were always girls around. You'd open a door and see somebody doing it or several people in a room having a you never knew what was going to happen. And when Howard Stern later asked Usher if he'd let his own kid go to a camp run by Puffy, Usher reportedly didn't hesitate, saying, hell no, so make of that what you will. All of this speaks to the broader theme of power and influence in the entertainment industry, and how those at the top can allegedly exploit their position to commit abuses with impunity. It's reminiscent of the #Me Too movement and the fall of figures like Harvey Weinstein, powerful men who allegedly used their status to prey on others, protected by a system that valued their contributions over the well-being of their victims. As for what's next in the trial, following Dawn Richards' testimony, the prosecution plans to call additional witnesses, including former employees and potentially other accusers. The trial is projected to continue until early July 2025, given its 8-week estimate, with proceedings occurring 5 days a week. The defense will likely continue its strategy of portraying Diddy's actions as problematic but not criminal, emphasizing consensual relationships and questioning the credibility of accusers. They may attempt to introduce more evidence of alleged mutual violence or focus on the drug use angle to mitigate intent, but with the mounting testimonies and physical evidence, they face an uphill battle. It's important to note that prosecutors have indicated that additional charges could be added or existing ones modified as the investigation remains ongoing. Over 100 electronic devices seized from Combs' properties are still being analyzed, and who knows what other skeletons might tumble out of his closet. For more updates on the latest celebrity news, be sure to watch the other videos currently on your screen.
It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn. And
Justin Bieber just dropped an audio bombshell that had Diddy completely stunned in court. This wasn't your usual drama. This was raw, explosive, and packed with receipts no one saw coming. As Justin's audio played in the courtroom, Diddy's face said it all. Because in that audio, Justin didn't hold back. He named names. Let me fill you in. This major plot twist has dropped right in the middle of Diddy's federal sex trafficking trial, which kicked off on May 12th, 2025 in Manhattan. The timing is giving main character energy, coming just days into what's already the most dramatic celeb court saga since the Depp Heard era. On May 15, 2025, Justin Bieber's representative came through with a statement to TMZ that's got everyone in the comments going wild. The statement read, "Although Justin is not among Sean Combs' victims, there are individuals who were genuinely harmed by him. Shifting focus away from this reality detracts from the justice these victims rightfully deserve. This carefully crafted message is giving PR masterclass vibes, as it's the first time Bieber has officially addressed all the Suez speculation about his teenage hangouts with Diddy, which have been under the microscope since Combs got arrested in September 2024. The statement wasn't just flying solo, it came with receipts from multiple sources in Bieber's circle who spilled to TMZ that Combs never sexually or otherwise abused Bieber, and that their public moments together were just performative for the cameras. These insiders clarified that Bieber was actually tight with Diddy's sons, Quincy and Justin Combs, who were closer to his age bracket, rather than having a direct connection with the music mogul himself. To fully grasp why this statement is such a big deal, we need to rewind and look at the Bieber-Diddy timeline, which began when Bieber was just a baby-faced teen heartthrob. The interactions that seemed harmless back then have aged like milk after the allegations against Diddy dropped, and now everyone's rewatching those clips with major side-eye. Justin Bieber, born March 1st, 1994, was a literal child at 14 when he first linked up with Sean Diddy Combs around 2008. This happened right after Bieber had signed with Usher and Scooter Braun's RBMG Records, setting off his glow-up from YouTube cover singer to global superstar. At the time, Diddy was pushing 40 and was a massive name in the music biz as the founder of Bad Boy Entertainment. The major age gap and power dynamic between teenage Bieber and established mogul Diddy is now raising all kinds of red flags for people questioning their relationship. One of the most analyzed interactions is from November 2009, when Bieber, at 15, posted a video to his official YouTube channel titled "Justin Bieber's 48 HRS with Diddy." The footage shows Diddy flexing on camera by presenting Bieber with a silver Lamborghini, saying,
"As soon as you turn 16, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna let you rock this every time you come to LA. Yeah, this gonna be yours."
But what's got the comment section spiraling is Diddy's super weird description of their time together. In the same video, he says,
Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like, you know, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream.
Diddy then pulled a super cringe comment that's aged terribly.
You know, I have been given custody of him. You know, he signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when you know he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go full crazy.
When asked what he wanted to do during their 48 hours together, Bieber answered, "Let's just go get some girls." To which Diddy replied, "A man after my own heart." That exchange hits totally different in 2025, NGL. Another sussy moment caught on camera is from 2010, when Bieber was 16. In the clip, Diddy appears to call out Bieber, saying, "What's up, man? You good? Selling out arenas and everything? Starting to act different, huh? You haven't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out." Bieber responds with awkward energy, "Well, I mean, you haven't. You tried to get in contact with me through all my, my partners and whatnot, but you never really got my number." Diddy then offers to give Bieber his number. This interaction is giving major power play vibes, with Diddy trying to flex his influence over young Bieber, though there's no receipts for actual misconduct. The most yikes-worthy appearance came in 2011, when Bieber and Diddy hit up Jimmy Kimmel Live. During this interview, Diddy dropped some cryptic lines about their relationship, saying, "We've become friends in a strange way." He added something that's now sending chills down everyone's spines.
And he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television. Well, apparently not. Some things, everything ain't for everybody.
These comments, which were just weird flex at the time, are hitting way different now with all the serious allegations against Diddy. These resurfaced clips have Twitter Nancy Drews and TikTok detectives going hard with theories about what really went down during Bieber's teen years. Despite all the Suez behavior on camera, sources have repeatedly told TMZ that Bieber's interactions with Diddy were just industry networking and clout chasing. trafficking, which is totally normal in the music business for up-and-coming artists. These insiders keep saying Bieber was actually closer to Diddy's sons, who were closer to his age, and deny any inappropriate behavior, insisting that Diddy never abused Bieber, sexually or otherwise. But plot twist. A Daily Mail report from October 2024, before the trial, quoted an anonymous source claiming Bieber was so disturbed by the Diddy news and is unwilling to process it or discuss it, so he has shut off. The T-spiller added, "So many people who helped to make him who he is were very close to Diddy, and it has completely thrown him." This suggests Bieber was in his feels about Combs' arrest, though it doesn't confirm he was actually victimized. On the collab front, Bieber and Diddy did work together on Diddy's 2023 album, The Love Album Off the Grid, where Bieber dropped a feature. However, sources later spilled to the Daily Mail that Bieber had major regrets about this collab, saying he wouldn't have done it if he'd known about Diddy's alleged activities. This tea adds another layer to their complicated history and hints that Bieber was already distancing himself from Diddy before everything went public. We can't understand the full impact of Bieber's statement without looking at Diddy's current legal drama, which includes serious federal charges that have the entire entertainment industry gagging. Sean Diddy Combs got hit with indictments in September 2024 on charges of racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He pleaded not guilty and said no to a plea deal. If found guilty, he's looking at a minimum of 15 years and potentially life behind bars. Federal prosecutors are alleging that Diddy ran a criminal enterprise through his business empire, including Bad Boy Entertainment, getting up to all kinds of illegal activities like sex trafficking, forcing women and male sex workers into drug-fueled freak-offs, recorded sexual performances that sometimes lasted days. Participants were allegedly pressured with drugs or threats, and recordings were used as collateral to keep them quiet. The charges also include racketeering, as Diddy is accused of running a network of associates and employees to facilitate crimes, including kidnapping, forced labor, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice, dating back to at least 2004. On top of that, Diddy is facing accusations of physical and sexual abuse, including assaulting women through punching, kicking, and dragging. A specific incident from 2016, showing an assault on his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura, was caught on hotel security footage and has been making the rounds online. The trial, which started on May 12, 2025, has already served major drama. The jury selection locked in with 12 men and 6 women. In opening statements, prosecutors painted Diddy as a manipulative abuser hiding behind his celebrity status, while defense attorney Tenny Garagos clapped back that his relationships were consensual and just part of a swinger lifestyle. Cassie Ventura has taken the stand, spilling details about abuse and freak-offs while being cross-examined by defense attorney Anna Estevao, who tried to suggest she was a willing participant, pulling up receipts with explicit text messages. Bieber's statement dropped during Ventura's testimony, which definitely ramped up public interest in Diddy's past relationships with young artists like Bieber. The timing of Bieber's statement, right in the middle of Diddy's trial and during Ventura's testimony, seems like a strategic move to protect Bieber's reputation and create distance from the scandal, especially now that he's a family man with wife Hailey Bieber and their baby boy Jack Blues. Social media has been in an uproar about this whole situation, and one of the loudest voices in this call-out has been former Playboy model Precious Muir, who attended Diddy's parties and has been going off about the lack of supervision during Bieber's teenage years. In multiple spicy interviews, Muir blasted Bieber's parents for not being physically present to shield their son from Diddy, describing Diddy as very good at convincing people to get involved in sketchy activities. There is no way that their parents should have left their children with this man by themselves. The parents should have been present, Muir stated with big, "I told you so" energy. She stressed that young stars need guardians to keep them safe from industry predators, pointing out that nobody in Diddy's inner circle was going to prioritize a child's well-being over clout and connections. Muir didn't just stop at the parents. She came for Usher too. She argued that as Bieber's mentor, Usher should have been the one making sure Bieber was protected, especially since Usher had his own Suez history with Diddy. This point is giving major history repeating itself vibes when you look at Usher's own backstory with Diddy, which has some eerie parallels to what happened with Bieber. The whole Usher-Diddy situation started in the early 1990s when Usher was just trying to blow up as an R&B singer. At the tender age of 13, after signing with LaFace Records under co-founder Antonio L.A., Reed Usher got shipped off to live with Diddy in New York City for about a year in 1993 to 1994 to develop his artistry. Diddy, who was 23, 24 at the time, and building his Bad Boy Records empire, was considered the ultimate tastemaker in hip-hop and R&B. Reed's decision to send Usher to Diddy was supposedly about giving him swagger, or flavor, because LaFace's music was apparently too soft and pretty. Major yikes in retrospect. This setup, which Diddy called Puffy Flavor Camp, had Usher living in Diddy's home and being thrown into the fast-paced, adult-oriented music industry lifestyle. Diddy literally became Usher's legal guardian during this 12-month period, which he later flexed about in that 2009 video with 15-year-old Justin Bieber, saying he had the same guardianship over Usher for his debut album. Usher has spilled the tea about his time with Diddy in several interviews over the years, and the vibes range from thankful for career advice to low-key traumatized by what he saw. In his 2016 Howard Stern Show appearance, Usher got more specific about his year with Diddy, calling it pretty wild and mentioning very curious things taking place that he didn't necessarily understand at that age. When Stern asked if Diddy's home was just orgying non-stop, Usher clarified, "Nah, not really," but admitted seeing some things and being exposed to the lifestyle. The most telling moment? When asked if he'd send his own kids to a puffy camp, Usher straight up said, "Hell no," which is a pretty clear sign he knew that environment was toxic for a child. With all these receipts about his own experiences with Diddy, critics like Muir are asking the obvious question: why would Usher let Bieber, at 15, anywhere near Diddy? Adding more fuel to the fire, rapper Freddie P called Usher a demon who enabled Diddy's alleged abuse of Bieber. He suggested that Usher, having been through Diddy's influence himself, should have known better than to introduce Bieber to him. This has added to the narrative that Usher was either negligent or complicit in exposing Bieber to Diddy. As for Bieber's parents, the criticism is focused on Patty Millette and Jeremy Bieber's apparent failure to properly monitor their son during his rise to fame. Sources close to Bieber, quoted by Daily Mail and other outlets, claimed he was thrown to the wolves by his parents, who let him party with Diddy and other adults as a teenager. One insider didn't hold back, saying, "The singer should never have been allowed to party with Diddy or anyone else when he was a teen." These sources argue that the lack of parental oversight left Bieber vulnerable during his most formative years. Patty Millette, who raised Bieber solo after splitting with Jeremy shortly after Justin was born, has been particularly dragged for trusting Diddy as a mentor figure. In her 2012 memoir, Nowhere But Up, the story of Justin Bieber's mom, Millette expressed worries about her son forming unhealthy long-term relationships due to fame, but never specifically mentioned Diddy. Reports suggest she had no clue about Diddy's alleged criminal activities at the time, since no public accusations had come out yet. Still, critics are saying her naivety or thirst for Bieber's success led her to put too much trust in sketchy industry figures like Diddy. Radar Online spilled that Millette, desperate to support Bieber's rising star, unknowingly pushed him into Diddy's orbit, thinking Diddy could help her son level up in his career. Her own traumatic background, abuse from age 3, substance issues, and a suicide attempt at 17, might have affected her judgment as she tried to juggle single motherhood and poverty while promoting Bieber's talent. Critics argue that her personal struggles don't excuse the lack of oversight, though. Jeremy Bieber, who was mostly MIA during Justin's early years due to his time behind bars when Justin was born, and his rocky relationship with Millette, is getting called out for not being a protective father figure. Sources say his absence left Millette making all the big decisions by herself. The Standard made a fair point that the entire industry failed Bieber, with adults beyond his parents, interviewers, TV hosts, and other celebrities normalizing inappropriate behavior. This wider failure spreads the blame beyond just Millette and Jeremy. Beyond his parents and Usher, other figures have entered the chat about Bieber's relationship with Diddy, most notably former Death Row Records CEO Suge Knight. In a 2024 prison interview with former mobster Michael Franzese, Knight claimed that Diddy molested both Usher and Bieber during their teenage years. Knight alleged Diddy sent Bieber on romantic vacations with older men and had an inappropriate relationship with Usher, including sharing a bed during a music project that produced no actual songs. While Knight's claims have no receipts and come from a biased source, he's a known Diddy rival. They intensified the scrutiny on the relationships between these figures. Knight's allegations were backed up by Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, who claimed music executives told him Diddy abused a young Usher so severely that he was hospitalized with bleeding from the butt. Deal said he didn't know it was Usher at the time, but heard about a child being sent to the hospital after abuse by Diddy. These claims are unverified, with no medical records or official reports as backup. Deal's statements are basically hearsay, since he's quoting unnamed executives rather than sharing first-hand observations. Rapper 50 Cent has been calling out Diddy's behavior for years, and now he's giving major "I told you so" vibes. In one video, 50 Cent reacts to a clip of Diddy interacting with Bieber. In another clip, 50 Cent makes even more direct accusations. While 50 Cent's comments don't have hard evidence, they represent what many in the industry have been saying, that they had suspicions about Diddy's behavior for years, but felt powerless to speak up because of his massive influence and connections. The tea spilled in Justin Bieber's statement, and the ongoing allegations against Diddy are serving more than just celebrity gossip. They're exposing the toxic power dynamics in the music industry, the vulnerability of child stars, and the desperate need for a major industry reset to protect young talent. As Diddy's trial continues to drop bombshells daily, the conversation about who knew what and who failed to protect who is getting more heated by the minute. The media coverage of Bieber's statement has been absolutely everywhere, showing just how significant this moment is while Diddy's trial unfolds. TMZ broke the story on May 15, 2025, emphasizing that Bieber was not claiming to be a victim, but that his team wanted to clear his name while still supporting Diddy's accusers. TMZ's Harvey Levin discussed the statement on air, insisting that nothing untoward happened between Bieber and Diddy. Levin spilled more details in a video segment.
We're told that he didn't really have any relationship with Diddy, that all of these videos are performative, and that Justin was friends with Diddy's two sons, but it really wasn't any kind of a relationship with Diddy.
Levin then shared the receipts from Bieber's team.
We contacted Justin's reps, and we kind of laid out what we found. And we said, look, this is what, multiple people have been telling us who were in his life, and are no longer, and also people who are in his life now. So we've talked to both. And I think that's really important because he's jettisoned so many people in his life. And they thought about it for a while and then contacted us back, and they actually gave us an on-the-record statement that Justin is not a victim of Diddy's. They said that there are other victims and they don't want to detract from them, but they said that Justin is not a victim of Diddy.
The story went super viral, with every outlet jumping on it. Daily Mail highlighted Bieber's emotional distress after Combs' arrest, citing earlier sources, but aligned with the statement's denial of victimhood. Unilad, The Mirror, Economic Times, and other media jumped on the performative angle of Bieber's appearances with Diddy and his call to focus on the real victims. The Star, India Times, and Metro UK framed it as Bieber breaking his silence to clear the air, noting fan concerns over those resurfaced clips and Bieber's recent erratic behavior. Believers have been worried about Justin's appearance and behavior throughout 2024 to 2025, pointing out his disheveled look, chaotic social media activity, and his tense interactions with paparazzi. Many have linked these signs to trauma from his early industry days, including his US time with Diddy, though there's no concrete proof connecting these behaviors to abuse by Diddy specifically. The statement tried to shut down the victim narrative, but it didn't fully kill the speculation. The timing of Bieber's statement, dropping right in the middle of Combs' trial and during Ventura's testimony, seems like a calculated PR move for several key reasons. First, with over 100 lawsuits name-dropping celebrities alongside Combs, Bieber's early connection risked damaging his image, especially now that he's in his family era with wife Hailey Bieber and baby Jack Blues. Second, the statement aimed to shut down the fake news spreading online, as those resurfaced videos had racked up millions of views and created a false narrative about potential victimization. By clarifying these were standard industry interactions and not evidence of anything sus, Bieber's team tried to regain control of the story. Finally, by acknowledging the individuals who were genuinely harmed, the statement positioned Bieber on the right side of history, avoiding accusations of dismissing or enabling Diddy's alleged behavior. The statement had both W's and L's in addressing all the tea about Bieber and Diddy. On the W side, it gave clarity by flat-out denying Bieber was a victim, backed by multiple sources, cutting through the noise. It also redirected the spotlight to Combs' actual accusers, showing respect for the serious nature of the trial, and provided context for the performative public appearances, explaining why those videos seemed so cringe in retrospect. On the L side, Bieber himself didn't speak directly, which some fans saw as sus, especially given reports about how shook he was. The statement also didn't fully explain why Diddy's comments came off so creepy, leaving room for continued speculation. Plus, dropping it mid-trial meant it risked getting overshadowed by Ventura's bombshell testimony. The legal stakes in this drama couldn't be higher. Combs' defense team, led by Mark Agnifilo, has framed his relationships as consensual, arguing that freak-offs were just part of a swinger lifestyle and not criminal. They've tried to undermine Ventura's credibility, suggesting she was a willing participant, which indirectly contrasts with Bieber's team's insistence of no victimization. This defense strategy might have prompted Bieber's statement to avoid getting dragged into Combs' narrative. The trial has name-dropped celebs like Britney Spears, Michael B. Jordan, and J. Locama, increasing the scrutiny on everyone who ever worked with Combs. Bieber's statement proactively distanced him from this mess, unlike others who've stayed silent. The courtroom ban on cameras and the trial's focus on systemic abuse amplify its cultural impact, making Bieber's statement a significant side plot. The allegations and concerns about Diddy and his interactions with young artists like Bieber and Usher highlight how vulnerable child stars are in an industry that often prioritizes bag chasing over protection. Media personalities like Megyn Kelly have called out celebrities, including Usher, for their silence after Diddy's arrest, arguing that those in Diddy's circle should speak up about what they knew. Kelly specifically highlighted Bieber's young age during his Diddy era, implying that mentors like Usher had a responsibility to protect him. Looking at the bigger picture beyond Bieber's specific situation, this whole mess raises serious questions about how the entertainment industry treats young talent. The case exposes the vulnerability of child stars, as Bieber's exposure to Diddy at 15, facilitated by industry figures like Usher, shows how young artists can be put in sketchy situations without proper adult supervision. It questions whether so-called mentorship programs for young artists, like Diddy's Flavor Camp, actually help develop talent or just serve as ways to control and manipulate young stars. The trial itself, expected to last 8 weeks, will continue serving fresh tea and potentially dragging more celebs into the spotlight. As it unfolds, it may provide more context for the relationships between Diddy, Usher, and Bieber, and expose the toxic culture that allegedly enabled Diddy's behavior for decades. As Diddy's trial continues and more tea gets spilled, the full extent of his alleged crimes and their impact on the industry will become clearer. For now, Bieber's statement serves as a reminder of the human cost of these allegations and the importance of focusing on those who have genuinely suffered rather than on baseless speculation. Thank you for watching this video. If you'd like to watch another fascinating video like this, click on one of the boxes on your screen right now.